The story begins with a boy named Magu. He is out hunting a wild hog, making a perfect long-distance shot with help from a friend who has a detection skill. After the hunt, his friends praise him for his amazing aim. Magu gets shy, but he's happy he can finally be useful, even though he still hasn't received his own skill yet. In this world, everyone receives a skill from God when they reach adulthood. These skills can be anything. Some make you better at fighting, some heal people, and some even help with cooking. But there are also off skills, abilities that cause trouble instead of helping. Many people treat them like curses. Magu's friends ask what skill he wants to get. One friend says Magu should join their party and make money with them. Another says he should join his father's old vigilante corps and protect the city. But Magu says he'll choose after he learns what skill he receives. He hopes for a skill that can help the city. One friend jokes that Magu should be more selfish. The other reminds him that Magu wants to be like his parents. They died protecting the city from a giant mutant lizard. His parents belonged to the city's top 2 vigilante corps. Everyone loved them for being strong, kind, and brave. When the giant lizard attacked, they fought without hesitation and saved the city, but died in the process. Before they passed away, they had only one wish, for Magu to live a happy life. Since then, the city looked after him. The people made sure he never felt alone. Growing up, Magu felt grateful, and now he wants to repay them by getting a useful skill. Today is his coming-of-age ceremony. He is excited and nervous, hoping for a blessing. He goes to the church full of hope, but he doesn't know he is about to receive the off-skill decoy, a skill that pulls monsters toward him day and night. It is considered one of the worst skills. When he hears the result, he is shocked. He wishes for another skill, but everyone knows skills cannot be changed. It feels like a death sentence. He looks at the pastor for help, but the pastor can only say he cannot interfere with God's will. Magu leaves the church heartbroken. He wanted to help the city, but now all his dreams feel destroyed. As he walks home, he sees a crowd in front of his house. People are packing his belongings and loading them onto a cart. Some talk about his off skill, others move his things like it's normal. When he asks what they are doing, they tell him to leave the city. They say he should live in a hunting shack in the mountains. An old man explains the reason. Because of decoy, Magu is now a danger to everyone. Monsters will keep coming for him. It's too risky for him to stay. People start shouting that he could cause another lizard disaster. They say they don't need him anymore. No one remembers his parents' sacrifice. They only want to protect themselves. Magu realizes he has no choice. He quietly accepts it and walks toward the mountains, pulling the cart with his things. He wonders what he did wrong. He always wished the best for the city. So why is this happening? Suddenly, a dark cobalt appears. His skill activates, and more of them show up. Magu runs toward the mountains as the monsters chase him. As he runs, he thinks about his parents and their wish for him to live. The kobolds attack. Magu fights back, but there are too many. He gets hit again and again. He grows weak and loses focus. It feels like the end. Then he hears a beautiful voice offering help. He turns and sees a beautiful girl standing there. Magu is shocked. He asks why she's in such a dangerous place and tries to protect her. A dark cobalt punches him hard and sends him flying. Magu tries to get up, worried the girl might get hurt, but she is still standing calmly. She tells him to move. A glowing ball of light forms in her hand, and she blasts the kobolds away. Magu is stunned. How could a girl like her be so strong? Is she using magic? The kobolds rush at Magu again. This time, the girl gets angry. She says she won't let them hurt him anymore. She summons a massive thunder attack that destroys all the kobolds. Magu is also thrown back and ends up injured. The girl rushes to him, worried. She gently puts his head on her lap and apologizes for hurting him. When Magu wakes up, he sees his head resting on her lap. He quickly sits up. He tries to act like he could have beaten them, even though he's covered in injuries. He apologizes that he couldn't protect her. But there are no monsters around. She points at their bodies and says she took care of them. Magu is shocked. How could someone so small defeat them? Is she a mage? People with special powers are called mages, but they need rare skills. Magu wonders if she is really just a normal girl. Suddenly, she shouts that she wasn't using magic. Magu demands to know how she defeated the monsters then. She asks him to step back. She stands proudly and says she believes she can trust him, so she will show him her secret. A bright light surrounds her as her body changes shape. Magu panics. What is happening? Then he hears her voice asking what he thinks now. As the light fades, he sees a dragon standing where the girl was. Magu is speechless. He touches her, amazed. She looks like a legendary divine beast, the kind from fairy tales, creatures with human speech and the strength of dragons. She turns back into her human form and tells him to call her Loa, not dragon or divine beast. Magu introduces himself too. He wants to stay close to her, but he steps back. saying he is too dangerous. Loa asks why he thinks that. Magu explains that his skill, decoy, attracts monsters, and she might get hurt if she stays with him. Loa snaps back, asking why a dragon should be afraid of weak monsters. Magu still tells her to leave. He is grateful for her help but doesn't want to cause her problems. Loa refuses. She says she was drawn to his voice and doesn't want to leave him yet. Magu is confused. Why did Loa say she heard his voice? Loa explains that his voice was filled with the desire to live, and because of his skill, she could hear him clearly. She says she flew to the pond because of that. She adds that she doesn't expect him to understand right away. His skill doesn't just attract demons. Magu apologizes, saying he thought decoy only drew monsters. Loa corrects him. Among dragons, the skill is called the caller. Others use that name too. She asks if Magu realizes what it means. If he can call creatures outside this world, then he has the power to unite beasts and humans. Magu thinks about it. He once believed such stories were only fairy tales. Loa suddenly grows worried. If she could hear his thoughts from far away, then other creatures have probably heard him too. What kinds of beasts might already be on their way? Magu remembers how the kobolds reacted when he thought about protecting the city. Maybe his thoughts really do reach monsters. Maybe decoy is a skill that sends his feelings to beasts, but that also scares him. Are his thoughts even private anymore? He starts thinking about others who had the decoy skill. Did someone like Loa save them too? If so, why do people with decoy always die young? Loa explains. People with this skill usually have impure hearts. They demand too much and only think of themselves. Dragons never help people like that. But Magu is different. He only wanted to live. That's why she became curious about him. She wants to understand someone with such a pure heart. Magu tells her that he wanted to repay the kindness of everyone in the town, but receiving decoy felt like punishment. It made him want to die. He asks Loa if it's possible for him to become useful to someone again. Loa answers excitedly, yes, he can. Magu stands up and asks if she will lend him her strength. Loa gladly agrees, then hugs him tightly, saying she will take care of him. Magu is overwhelmed with gratitude, but Loa hugs him so strongly that he falls to the ground. She quickly apologizes. Magu decides he needs to rest, and luckily the hunting shack is nearby. He moves his things inside and begins a new life with Loa. Magu is still asleep when the door suddenly slams open. A beautiful girl walks in. She tells him not to worry because from now on, she will take care of him. Magu jumps in confusion. He asks who she is. She introduces herself as Fia the Phoenix and explains that she heard the power in her master's voice. She flew across the sea to reach him. Magu can't believe it. Crossing the sea normally takes months, yet a phoenix appeared overnight. Then he realizes this must be the effect of his skill. Fia looks annoyed at how calm he is. She expected him to be more shocked. Magu explains that something similar happened the day before. Fia gets angry at his casual reply. Just then, Loa wakes up on the other side of the bed, rubbing her eyes. She wonders who Magu is talking to so early. Magu asks why she didn't sleep in another room. As Loa wakes fully, she notices a feather on the bed. Her eyes land on Fia, and she instantly understands. She shouts loudly, "There's a phoenix here!" Fia shouts back, demanding to know why our another dragon is here. Magu tries to calm them, but they explain that dragons and phoenixes have never gotten along. They've been fighting for the top of the sky for thousands of years. Their clash creates a loud shockwave, and one wall of the house collapses. Magu yells at them to stop. After they calm down, he repairs the broken wall with wooden planks. He scolds both of them for nearly destroying his new home. Both Loa and Fia apologize. Magu then notices both of them keep calling him Master. He tells them to just use his name, but Fia refuses. She explains that if someone can read a beast's thoughts and blood, then that person must be served by beasts in times of need. Calling their master by name would be disrespectful. She adds that Magu has a good heart, and she will always be there for him. Hearing that, Loa becomes jealous. Magu looks at both of them and says he's glad they're with him. He doesn't want to burden anyone, but he knows he needs their help. He asks them to try getting along since the three of them will be living together. Loa, being kind-hearted, agrees. Fia refuses to back down and also agrees to get along. Magu thanks them and suggests they eat breakfast. While eating, Magu explains that they have enough food for a few days, but they need a proper way to gather food if they want to survive in the forest. He tells them there's a place nearby with wild vegetables and water. It's not ideal, but they need to make a field and dig a well soon. After breakfast, they head out to find clean water. Magu feels excited, but when he pulls the cart, he realizes his injuries still hurt. Fia and Loa rush to help, but he waves them off, saying he can manage. He wants them ready in case something dangerous appears. Fia looks worried and says she only wants to help. Magu insists that pulling the cart counts as rehab. Both Loa and Fia start wondering why Magu is living out here instead of returning home. Then they realize he was kicked out. They both get furious and want to punish the townspeople. Magu quickly distracts them by pointing toward a nearby pond. Loa gets excited and runs to splash in the water. Fia stays back, saying she doesn't want her flames to go out, but Loa throws water at her anyway. This starts another argument. Magu steps between them and breaks it up again. Fia notices Magu getting flustered because Loa's wet clothes became slightly revealing. She teases him, and Loa gets even more jealous. Eventually, they all begin working together. Fia and Loa help Magu gather water, pick wild vegetables, and collect medicinal herbs. Magu feels truly grateful. Suddenly, Fia becomes serious. She senses something deep in the woods and warns Magu to stay alert. All three of them stare toward the forest, curious about what is coming out. Magu feels nervous. He isn't ready to face more demons after what happened yesterday. It feels too soon. Fia tells Magu to step back. She tells Loa to stay close to him. Just as Magu feared, a new demon steps out from the trees. It's huge, with sharp teeth. Magu shouts in shock. It's a man-eating troll. His stomach twists. Knowing this monster appeared because of his decoy skill, he blames himself for putting Loa and Fia in danger again. Fia attacks first, but her feathers are still soaked from earlier, so she struggles to deal any real damage. The troll counters and rushes toward her, but Fia quickly transforms into her phoenix form and strikes back. First, she unleashes a flurry of feathers. While the troll's distracted, she throws fireballs at him. The flames burn him badly, and the troll collapses. Magu thanks Fia for saving him, but before they can rest, an entire group of trolls shows up. Chaos erupts again. They sprint back toward the house as fast as they can. On the way, different kinds of demons block the road, but with Loa and Fia fighting beside him, they make it home safely along with the food and water they gathered. Once they're back, Magu realizes that every time they travel down that road, something terrible happens. If they want to live peacefully, they must do something about the constant demon attacks. Loa then suggests that she can drive all the demons away for him. Magu asks if she can really get rid of them completely. Loa says not completely, but she can clear most of them. All she has to do is fly near the mountains and claim the area as her territory. Fia asks if Loa is really willing to give up her old territory just to deal with demons. Magu suddenly remembers. Once a dragon claims a territory, they're bound to it for life. He doesn't want to take advantage of Loa's kindness and refuses. But Loa gently explains that dragons naturally leave their old homes and claim new ones as they grow. She's ready to make this mountain her new home. She adds that she's been doing fine since coming here anyway, and claiming a territory doesn't mean being trapped. Magu feels deeply moved. Loa smiles and tells him to treat her like an adult from now on. Later that day, Magu cooks dinner for the three of them. It's the first time Loa and Fia have a warm, homemade meal, and they truly enjoy it. Magu feels happy that they now have fresh water, but their next big goal is growing a field of crops. Loa and Fia suggest bringing vegetables from the mountain, but Magu refuses to take any more risks. Besides, he has always dreamed of building his own farm. He even has seeds for a few vegetables. Loa asks if he knows anything about farming. Magu says he's helped his friends with it before. Then Fia points out that they still don't have enough water to keep a farm alive. Magu starts wondering if it's possible to build canals or waterways. He teases Fia, saying sometimes canals just appear by themselves. Fia gives him a blank, unimpressed look. She then tells him they have all the time they need to figure things out, and she and Loa will help him no matter what. They want Magu to live the life he dreams of. Then Loa takes off to chase the demons away. Magu turns to Fia and asks her to help him plow the field. Fia takes out a power sword and hands it to him, telling him that he can use it to protect himself too. Magu is grateful, but he also feels embarrassed that he keeps relying on them. Fia hugs him and says that both she and Loa are willing to risk their lives for him. Just then, Loa returns and sees Fia hugging Magu. Furious, she charges at Fia. Fia fights back and the two begin arguing once again. Magu watches quietly, wishing he could do something useful for them too. The next morning, Magu steps outside and freezes. A brand new well stands in front of the house. It wasn't there yesterday. He wonders how it suddenly appeared and whether the water is safe. As he's thinking, a beautiful girl steps out from behind the well. She asks if Magu is the caller who summoned her. Magu's skill reacts immediately. He stares at her in confusion. The girl introduces herself as Mayera, a minor water spirit. Magu wonders if he's getting used to this already. He introduces himself back and asks Mayera if she's also a divine beast. She nods, explaining she is from the Kelpie tribe, a rare kind of sacred horse that can control bodies of water, calm raging rivers, and still the waves of inland seas. Magu thinks again how creatures like her are supposed to exist only in fairy tales. He asks why she's here. Mayera explains that her tribe follows an ancient rule. If a caller needs water, a Kelpie must answer the call. She was told her caller needed water, so she came. Magu can't imagine how that happened, but apologizes anyway. Mayera smiles and tells him there's no need to apologize. She's happy to see him pleased. She worked hard on the well. Magu thanks her and asks how she managed to build a working well with clean water overnight. Mayera says it wasn't hard. She simply adjusted the underground water flow. Suddenly, Fia storms in and demands to know what a Kelpie is doing here. Loa peeks out behind Fia, then her face lights up with excitement when she sees Mayera. Mayera is fascinated too. She's never seen a dragon and a phoenix together. Loa cheerfully greets Mayera, but Fia stays furious. Now both of her rivals are helping Magu. She snaps at Magu, asking why he keeps attracting all her annoying enemies. Magu calms her down and prepares breakfast for everyone. For Mayera, eating human food is a completely new experience, and she loves it. Loa tells Mayera that they are planning to make a garden so Magu can grow vegetables. Loa immediately starts sowing seeds, but Magu panics because it's not the right season. Fia warns Loa that if she wastes the precious seeds Magu worked so hard to get, she'll regret it. But then Loa performs earth magic. In just a few minutes, plants and vegetables begin sprouting and growing into fully mature crops. Everyone stands shocked. Magu asks how she did it. Loa explains that her grandfather was a terrestrial dragon, a creature born from the earth itself. They can control the power of the land. She inherited that ability. Loa then tells everyone to try the fruits growing on the trees. They taste amazing, and no one can stop eating, especially Fia. Loa thanks Mayera, surprising her. Loa explains that she can only use her earth magic when there is enough water nearby. Everything they see now is possible thanks to Mayera's well. Mayera looks proud that she could help. Loa then says she's going to grow even more plants using her power and asks Magu and Fia to plow the rest of the field. While Mayera waters the new plants, she accidentally creates a steaming hot spring. For Magu, the hot spring turns out to be a pleasant surprise. He asks Mayera to make the pond bigger and place stones around it. By the end of the day, Loa and Fia are so tired that they fall asleep right after dinner. Mayera, still curious about the new hot spring, stays outside to keep working on it. Magu goes out to check on her. She asks if she can stay with them for a while. Kelpies struggle to control their power, and building water canals will take time. Also, it is normal for young Kelpies to leave home and train in new places. This mountain has plenty of water, so it's a good place for her to learn. Magu tells her she can stay as long as she wants. He feels lucky to have such wonderful friends. But from behind a tree, someone watches quietly and wonders how Magu is still alive. In the village, a few men in the Vigilante Corps office talk about how fewer demons have appeared since Magu left. One of them says the demons must have followed him into the mountains. Another man agrees. Then the girl who was spying from the trees earlier enters the office. She tells her father that Magu is alive. She is the same girl who once asked Magu to join her father's Vigilante Corps before he received the decoy skill. Her father looks shocked and asks how Magu is still surviving. She explains that Magu is doing well, and there are no signs of trouble. She also says he is not living alone. Divine beasts like dragons are living with him. One man becomes worried and says that Magu is now a threat. If he upsets the dragon and runs back to the city, it could lead to a disaster. Then the old man who once forced Magu to leave speaks up. He says the only solution is to kill Magu now, since he keeps attracting more and more divine beasts. Hearing this, the girl and a young man who used to be Magu's friend look troubled. Meanwhile, in the forest, Magu practices using the sword Fia gave him. The blade shoots out flames, and Magu feels strange holding so much power. He knows he's not a magical creature, but the sword makes him feel different. Suddenly, he notices Loa watching him with a jealous pout. He asks what's wrong. Loa admits that she also wants to give him something important, just like Fia did. Magu tells her she has already done plenty. She was the first one to save him and has a special place in his heart. Loa explains that she wants to protect her caller, and she's ready to give him a part of her power. Both dragons and phoenixes have a tradition of doing this. Fia already gave her power to the sword, and Loa wants to do the same. She then shares a story from her family. Long ago, a demon god tried to rule the world with fear, but one man who had bonded with many divine beasts united their powers and defeated the demon god. The man lost his life, but he saved the world. After finishing the story, Loa takes out her sword and offers it to Magu. She says she wants him to use her power only to protect himself. Magu is deeply moved. He tells her that he also wants to use that power to protect her. Both smile, feeling the strong bond they share.
Hey guys, sorry for mid-editing, but I noticed a lot of you are watching my videos without subscribing. Our subscribe ratio is literally close to 0. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Thanks. Now, back to the recap.
Later, Magu goes out to hunt rabbits for dinner. While hunting, he thinks about how these divine beasts are the reason he's still alive. He doesn't even miss the city anymore. He wants to repay their kindness by taking care of the food, chores, and heavy work. Suddenly, a group of armed fighters appears. They announce that they've finally found him. Magu is shocked. They made it this deep into the mountains. The fighters attack him until the old man from the vigilante corps steps forward and tells them to stop. He accuses Magu of being a danger to the city. He claims Magu used his decoy skill to lure a dragon here, and now the only solution is to kill him. The old man orders the fighters to finish Magu. They attack again, and Magu fights back with everything he has. He is furious. First, they kicked him out of the city, and now they want to kill him, even though he's just trying to survive. The old man tells him to stop being selfish. He says Magu owes the city for raising him. Magu realizes he has no escape. The old man is powerful enough to burn entire groups of creatures in seconds. Even so, Magu refuses to give up. He warns them to leave or he'll destroy their city. He also tries to explain that dragons are not mindless monsters. They can speak and think like humans. Suddenly, an arrow flies from the woods and hits Magu's shoulder. It was shot by one of his old friends from the vigilante corps. Magu is injured. Then he sees a feather attack flying toward the fighters. He instantly knows it's Fia. He remembers he has Fia's sword and can borrow her power. The old man throws a fireball, but Magu blocks it with Fia's sword. He realizes the sword alone is strong enough to counter their magic. Then the old man attacks with large water bullets. Magu thinks Fia's sword might not be best against water, so he quickly pulls out Loa's sword instead. The attack is blocked again. The old man is shocked. He can't understand how someone like Magu, who is not even a mage, has such incredible power. Magu tells him this is the power of decoy, the same skill the old man rejected. This strength comes from those who chose to stand beside him. The old man replies that this is exactly why Magu is dangerous now. They attack again. Magu knows that even though he's borrowing strength from others, he is getting worn down by the magic hits. Without these weapons, he wouldn't stand a chance. Then the old man starts preparing a spell called Heavenly Detonation. Magu recognizes it immediately. He once saw demons wipe out a whole town with that spell. He realizes he needs to run. Suddenly, a phoenix bursts out of the woods and warns the old man not to harm her master. The old man freezes in shock when he sees a phoenix talking like a human. Fia looks at Magu and says she rushed over after sensing he was in danger. Fia turns toward the old man and his men. Magu explains that they are the leaders of his hometown. The old man shouts again, asking how much more trouble Magu plans to cause. Fia frowns, disappointed by how cruel they are. She says she wants to punish them herself. Then someone even angrier arrives. Loa appears in her dragon form. She tells the old man not to interfere with her territory. Now that they have hurt her master, she demands to know what they were thinking. The old man and his men are too terrified to answer. Loa glares and shouts at them to speak. Magu can feel how furious she is. The old man stammers that he didn't know Magu had gained the protection of divine beasts. He claims he only wanted to keep Magu away from town. Loa refuses to accept the excuse. She says she wants to send him straight to the afterlife. Then she asks if he even knows why gods gave humans the skill decoy. Has he ever thought about it? The old man says it's just a cursed skill that attracts demons. Fia cuts in and explains that humans have forgotten the true meaning of caller. Long ago, when demons attacked or disaster struck, the caller was the one who could speak with divine beasts and ask for their help. A caller connects humans and beasts and keeps the world in balance. She adds that a caller is born when the world is in danger. If someone is weak, wouldn't they wish for a power like that? Loa says it's pathetic that they didn't know any of this. Magu tells the old man that divine beasts are not like normal monsters. They can think and talk. If anything happens to the city, it won't be because of him. It will be because of their ignorance. He says he isn't trying to cause trouble. He's not going back to the city. He only wants to live here peacefully. He explains that the divine beasts are the only thing protecting their town now. That is the last thing he can do for the people who raised him. So he asks them to leave the mountain and not bother him again. That way, everyone will stay safe. The old man admits he has no right to argue anymore. He misunderstood everything when Magu first contacted the dragon. He apologizes and says goodbye, hoping never to meet again. Both Loa and Fia are surprised by how kind Magu is. Fia says that if she were in his place, she would have blasted them already. Magu tells her he's sure the old man won't return. He probably wants to avoid Loa and Fia from now on. That finally satisfies them. As they walk home, they wonder where Mayera is. Magu starts to worry, hoping she wasn't hurt because of him. When they reach the house, Mayera is waiting with a few strange men. She is relieved to see Magu safe. Loa says that those men barged in and shouted at her. Mayera decided to handle them herself and told Loa and Fia to stay near their master. Magu thanks all three of them. Loa then flies off to remove the men from the mountain while Magu promises to cook a good dinner for everyone. After dinner, Loa, Fia, and Mayera fall asleep. Magu sits quietly thinking about how he never wants to endanger them again. From now on, he wants a peaceful life. Suddenly, a black cat walks past him. A week passes after the attack. Magu and the divine beast live peacefully with no trouble. With Loa's help, they've grown many crops, and Magu waters them himself. He wants to handle these chores, since he has relied on the divine beast for almost everything until now. After finishing his work, Magu relaxes in the hot spring. As he bathes, he feels peaceful and thinks about how much his decoy skill has changed his life. He never imagined he would live such a calm, comfortable life. The warm water almost puts him to sleep when Fia and Mayera show up, saying they want to bathe too. Magu gets flustered and tries to stop them, saying that humans usually separate male and female baths. Mayera explains she wants to train Fia in handling water. Fia admits she tried copying Mayera once, but almost drowned before Mayera saved her. Magu allows them to enter on one condition: they must stay covered. They both agree. Fia jokes that she once thought hot springs were like boiling in a kettle, which makes Mayera laugh. While they chat, Loa suddenly appears and tells Magu she has finished hunting. Magu praises her for guarding the area and thanks her. Then Loa hops into the spring too, making Magu even more embarrassed. In the middle of their light moment, they hear a soft meowing sound. A small injured black kitten is hiding in the grass. Magu gently picks her up and strokes her fur. Loa finds her adorable and wants to play with her. Magu wonders if the kitten might be a monster. Loa says it's hard to tell since monsters often don't reveal their true form until they grow. The kitten plays with them and looks far too cute to be dangerous. Fia finds it strange that the kitten could enter Loa's territory. Since this mountain belongs to Loa now, no monsters should be able to cross into it. Magu suggests that if the kitten isn't harmful, they should help her. Even if she is a monster, she's still only a child. Letting her die would be cruel. He decides to prepare food for her and tells everyone to return to the house. Back home, Magu pours soup into a bowl for the kitten. She drinks it quickly. Magu wishes they had milk, but hopes the soup is enough. Fia says monsters are tough and usually eat anything. Mayera helps the kitten recover, making sure she rests. Even though the kitten improves, they are still confused about how she entered Loa's territory. It should be impossible. Magu wonders aloud if another divine beast has appeared nearby. Fia says that if that were true, they would have sensed it. Loa suggests the kitten might have come from somewhere hidden, like a cave. That idea makes sense, so they decide to explore after lunch. After eating, they head out to explore the mountain. Following Loa's voice through the trees, they find her standing near a dark cave. She tells them it's a cobalt nest. She says it's similar to the place where she was born. Cool, dark, and quiet. She warns them to move carefully if they enter. Magu looks around and notices the valley has many hiding spots. It could serve as a natural fortress and a nest. Loa adds that something feels wrong. The magical energy in this area seems blocked near the cave. They all notice a strange smell coming from inside. Still, they decide to enter. Suddenly, a huge group of monsters appears, trolls and kobolds, charging at them. Everyone is shocked. This isn't a regular cave. Magu realizes it must be a dungeon, the kind where monsters all appear at once. Loa senses a dark, unnatural presence in the magic here. Magu tells them to fight head-on and get it over with. Fia worries that whoever created this dungeon probably knows they are here. Loa is furious. She hates a dungeon forming in her territory. Mayera explains that if they don't destroy it now, it could grow and take over the mountain. They could do nothing to stop it, if that happens. They fight through the monsters and move deeper. The cave becomes a winding maze, like something out of a fairy tale. Mayera says they need to reach the back of the dungeon. If they kill the boss there, the dungeon will collapse, and the smaller monsters will slowly disappear. Loa urges Magu to defeat the boss quickly. It's the law of this world, but she is nervous, hiding behind Magu. He laughs and teases her, asking how a dragon can be scared of anything. Loa insists she isn't scared, just not good with dark places. Magu reassures her, reminding everyone that they are strong, and he made a promise to protect them, using their powers. Mayera asks if the sword and dagger really hold Loa and Fia's powers. Magu nods. Just then, he notices a group of monsters sneaking up behind Mayera. Before he can warn her, she takes them down with powerful jets of water from her bracelet. Magu is impressed and praises her. Mayera says it's thanks to constant training. She knows they'll face more surprise attacks, so she gifts Magu the bracelet, telling him it holds part of her power. He can use it to stop sneak attacks. Magu feels grateful, though a little embarrassed. Mayera just smiles, saying, "It's nothing, I'm still a guest in his home." They move deeper, fighting more monster groups along the way. With the divine beast's strength, it's manageable. Magu notices that whenever they take the wrong path, monsters attack. It's like they are being guided. Loa explains they are almost at the halfway point, a large central chamber where a powerful monster, the Keeper, usually waits. Mayera wonders if the monster is testing their strength, pushing them deeper faster. Magu says if that's true, at least it's saving them time. Fia laughs, saying he's getting used to dungeons. They reach the halfway point. A massive door sealed with chains blocks the way. Beyond it lies a huge room. Magu warns everyone to be careful. This dungeon is enormous and dangerous. He reminds them he wants to protect and support them no matter what. All three divine beasts tell him he's more than capable. Fia blasts the door open with fireballs. They step inside. Magu feels nervous but tries to stay calm. With three divine beasts by his side, he knows he can handle it. Then he freezes. Standing in front of them is a monster he never thought he'd see again. The lizard man who killed his parents. Magu's blood boils. How is this monster still alive? Memories of that horrible day flood his mind. Sadness and rage overwhelm him. Loa, Fia, and Mayera notice something is wrong. Magu explains the truth. This is the same monster that attacked his hometown years ago. His parents fought it but died. Now it has returned as an undead. He can't dwell on the past. He has to fight. The lizard man charges. Magu freezes, unable to move, paralyzed by fear. Mayera rushes in to save him, while Loa and Fia leap into battle. Magu watches helplessly, hating that he feels like a burden. Loa and Fia attack relentlessly, but the lizard man blocks everything with his shield. Magu has no idea how they can win. He wants to run. Loa pulls him into a hug, sensing his fear. Fia and Mayera continue to protect him. Loa urges Magu not to give up. She reminds him that they came to him because of his will to survive. The lizard man's attacks push them all to the limit. Loa's eyes fill with tears as she begs Magu to fight for them. She says they want to live with him for a long time. Then it clicks. Magu realizes he isn't the powerless kid anymore. He's stronger. He has real friends who believe in him. Their lives are tied together. This isn't the end of their story. He shouts that he wants to live with them and will not let anyone die here. His spirit ignites. Magu charges into battle. Together, they attack the lizard man, but his shield warps magic and deflects everything. Magu thinks fast. His decoy skill can lure monsters from anywhere. He can track their positions even in a smokescreen. Now it's time to use that power. He sets the trap. With perfect timing and teamwork, they finally defeat the lizard man. The room falls silent. Relief fills the air. Loa and Fia scold Magu for taking such a risk, but are glad he's unharmed. Magu apologizes with a smile. Mayera praises him for his bravery and wonders if her water bracelet could help with attacks like that. Magu reflects on the boss's power. If monsters at the halfway point were already this strong, the boss must have been formidable. They are still discussing it when a loud cracking sound echoes from above. A massive hand bursts through the ceiling and grabs Magu. Before anyone can react, a deep voice growls, "Found you." The hand pulls him through the crack, and the opening vanishes. Loa, Fia, and Mayera are frozen in shock. It is the hand of the demon god. For thousands of years he has slept deep within the land. Now, as his full power nears restoration, he mutters that he must be ready, so he does not repeat the mistakes of the past. Soon the world will be his again. The demon god raises his hand, expecting to see a divine beast, but instead finds a boy. He freezes. Magu, equally confused, tries to understand what is happening. The demon god asks how a child could appear among gods and beasts. Magu looks at the massive figure and asks who he is and why he is after Mayera. The demon god decides to humor him. "I am Desperado," he says. Magu freezes. Desperado, the demon god who once faced the first caller, is still alive. Desperado explains that he is one of the 7 demon lords, governing this dungeon as one of its pillars. Magu can hardly believe it. 7 demon lords, 6 more like him. Desperado had designed this dungeon to draw divine beasts in, one by one, rewarding those who survived. But instead, this child showed up. He smiles, amused. As a reward, he plans to make Magu another wandering ghoul of the dungeon. Magu pulls out his sword and yells that he won't let Desperado have his way. Desperado blocks the strike with his sickle and sneers. He's intrigued that a boy can wield such power, borrowed from divine beasts. He says Magu reminds him of the first caller, a memory that disgusts him, and declares that Magu deserves death. Despite fear gripping him, Magu feels a spark of hope. He's been practicing how to use the power of the divine beasts. Maybe he has a chance. The toll on his body is immense. Desperado questions how Magu is using both phoenix and dragon powers at once and wonders aloud if he is this era's divine beast tamer. Magu has never heard the term and doesn't understand. Desperado is furious, accusing him of carelessly wielding sacred weapons, a dagger and sword, without knowing their meaning. He calls Magu foolish for stepping into this fight. Magu attacks again, and Desperado blocks it. Desperado counters, but Magu summons a water shield with Mayera's bracelet. Desperado is surprised. How many divine beasts has this boy bonded with? Magu strikes with a water jet, injuring him. Enraged, Desperado hurls his massive hand at Magu, but Magu blocks it using the dagger, sword, and bracelet together. Desperado explains that the air around him is ultra-dense magical energy. It blocks physical attacks and even forms a barrier against magic. Alone, each divine beast was no threat, but together with a human, they once defeated him. That battle forced him to sleep for thousands of years. Now he will not lose again. Desperado attacks with a barrage of air daggers. Magu blocks as best he can, but the shield begins to crack. Desperado notices Magu's eyes and says, "Those eyes overflowing with life, they remind me of someone who almost destroyed me." He admits that Magu might be his greatest enemy yet. Magu knows his body is reaching its limit, but he refuses to give up. "I can't lose," he says. "I have people who rely on me. I have friends I want to protect." He calls on the power of the three divine beasts fully, lending their strength to his sword, dagger, and bracelet. Desperado strikes again, but Magu attacks in return. His weapons shake, but he keeps pressing forward. Desperado wonders why the boy hasn't collapsed. Magu explains simply, he can't die here. He once thought he would die protecting the city, but now he has friends who helped him. He has a purpose, and he won't give it up. Desperado realizes the source of Magu's strength isn't just the divine beasts, it's his spirit. Magu's relentless courage, his will to fight even against a demon god, drew him in. This is the power of someone beyond ordinary humanity. A true caller. Magu charges, striking Desperado with his dagger. With the combined might of the divine beasts and his own resolve, he pierces the demon god's body. Desperado lets out a final roar. Then, everything ends. The dungeon falls silent. Magu stands, exhausted but victorious. The demon god, Desperado, is gone. For the first time, peace truly seems possible.
Please!
Subscribe.
I need this! My mom is kind of homeless.